My name is Chandra Fugit. I'm a social work major with a minor in addictions, and I'm a junior.
My name is David Singleton. I am a senior about to graduate in December with a major in rehabilitation studies and minors in addictions and English. I have 13 months in long-term recovery.
My name is Audrey Smith. I'm studying rehabilitation studies, and I'm a junior.
My name is Katie Kosowski, and I'm a recovered alcoholic and addict. I am majoring in rehab studies with a minor in addictions.
My name is Chrissy Chapman. I am a social work major, and I am a second year in a 3-year program.
My name is Haley Riley. I'm majoring in psychology. I'm minoring in addictions and substance abuse and rehab, and I'm a junior.
My name is Natalie Jones, and I am looking to go to school at UNT in fall of 2014, and I am in long-term recovery.
I am Robert Ashford. I'm a social work major with minors in psychology and addiction studies, and I am a junior.
I've been in long-term recovery for 1 year and 8 months.
My experience with addiction has been my whole life. If you have my last name, you have an addiction. And I've grown up in a home full of addictions and been battled with a lot myself. And I really believe that CRP can really help me out along with other students.
For a young person to succeed, they need the peer support, and they need the opportunities to interact and not face stigma, not face separation from where they're going.
I am a recovered addict for 3 years now, and addiction hits home for me because being an addict myself, I want to just branch out and help as many addicts as I possibly can.
I'm interested in addiction and quality of life issues for students because I have family members and friends who have struggled with addiction and use in the past and currently, and I just would like to do what I can to be a part and help out.
I've been sober for 5 months.
I myself am a person in long-term recovery. For me, what that means is that I haven't had a drink or a drug in over 7 months, which is huge. I spent over 10 years in active addiction.
One, being a social work major, I think that I am here to help, and I'm also an addict, and I spent 14 years on drugs, and so I feel like I have something to offer someone.
I was an alcoholic and a pill addict. I was a pharmacy technician for 6 years. I've dropped out of school 4 times. It wasn't really a super awesome road to go down. Whenever I couldn't manage my life anymore and I couldn't go to school, I couldn't go to work, started breaking down, crying, and then my brother got in a wreck and I wanted help.
Failed relationships with both personal and family, trying to go to college and not going to class anymore and flunking out or withdrawing from classes, losing jobs, and all of it was because of choices that I made, but they all kind of centered around the disease of addiction. If I had to say what my quality of life was, it was virtually non-existent. It was a step away from dead.
I lived in Denton for over a year, and at this time it was pretty rough for me personally. And I struggled with some addictions and things, and I didn't have a way to deal with it. I didn't know how or know who to speak to, and it ultimately led to really poor grades and me moving. And I do feel that if I was to have something like that when I was here, I would have graduated about a year ago.
I had a 14-year addiction to meth, and I went through a lot of things through that. CPS, jail, violence, all kinds of things.
I went through that myself. I have people in my family that went through it, and I have friends. I know it's important to live a healthy life. I know the bad side of it, everything that can happen from addiction. So from my experience, I want to help others get out of it like they helped me.
I have been involved with CRPs through my student organization, Equal Peer Recovery. We're trying to bring a more sound, healthy CRP to campus, and I believe it could really do a great deal of good for a lot of students here.
The only thing I do on this campus is EPR. I'm not involved in any other organizations. I feel like I'm a lot older than a lot of these, a lot of the people here, and I'm not, their issues aren't my issues. But long-term recovery is my issue. And being around these people, and EPR, and for sure, I have people that I can talk to that know what I'm talking about without, them being like, what? Because I'm saying some old people stuff or, or I'm not, on the same level as them, because I am on the same level as them.
For a young person to succeed, they need the peer support, and they need the opportunities to interact and not face stigma, not face separation from where they're going.
I think a lot of people don't know about Eagle Peer Recovery here, but Eagle Peer Recovery is a group of people who are recovering from something or who support recovery. And if these people who are out there suffering alone just hear about Eagle Peer Recovery, they would be able to have a group of friends that they can work with during their recovery also.
And I've just been staying active in my recovery with Eagle Peer Recovery.
The Eagle Peer Recovery that has just started, that's the closest thing that we have to like a safe community, and it's it's just beginning, and it's done so much, and there are so many people who have really been touched by it and what it offers.
I've been depressed since about 8th grade, and I'm in recovery now from it. I started getting help last year, and being around EPR has helped because there are a lot of people I get along with and relate to.
I want to go to UNT because I've always really wanted to go to UNT. I've always loved the Denton area, but I could go to TWU right now if I wanted to and pay in-state tuition, but UNT has EPR, and I know that that would be something that I would want to be a part of, and TWU doesn't have it.
When I went into that process, there was nothing like a collegiate recovery program on campus here. There was nowhere I could turn for peer support or for formal referral sources.
I lived in Denton for over a year, and at this time it was pretty rough for me personally. And I struggled with some addictions and things, and I didn't have a way to deal with it. I didn't know how or know who to speak to, and it ultimately led to really poor grades and me moving. And I do feel that if I was to have something like that when I was here, I would have graduated about a year ago.
Any kind of substance abuse help or would be necessary, not only helpful, because a lot of kids, adults, anybody are suffering from addiction or even know someone is suffering from addiction and need some place to go and somewhere that they feel safe enough to be.
And I feel like UNT, they want kids to bring, students to come here. I feel like they should have, play like a safe haven for people with long-term recovery or people that wants to support it. I think by having that certain program, they'll get a lot more people in, and people will realize, wow, UNT really cares about the students.
For a young person to succeed, they need the peer support, and they need the opportunities to interact and not face stigma, not face separation from where they're going?
UNT does not offer any assistance for student in long-term recovery. I think that they should, because there's a lot of people here, either closet people who once had addictions but are too afraid to come out and say that they need further help in their recovery. Right now, there is nothing that is offering a reaching hand out to them right now.
I think students who have addictions are really have a hard time on university campuses because the university, like college students, thrive on partying and going out and drinking, and it's really hard to find to feel at home without having like a collegiate recovery program to go to, somewhere safe, somewhere that that you can be with like-minded people or and people who other students that want to stay sober and still have fun, and they want to move forward with their life.
The recovery culture and the current resources available to students at UNT are very much focused on the prevention and healthy practice of substance use and drinking and living in moderation and not getting to the point of addiction. But there's nothing really besides EPR that is offered to help those that are already in recovery or have reached the point of addiction or past the point of addiction.
I would like to see out of a collegiate recovery program structure and to help me to actually recover from all the classes that I've dropped out of, failed, or not attended, so then I don't have to keep retaking classes to raise my GPA up, so I can do that.
It's hardly ever about academics. It's cramming before the test, but what about the 2 months before? Is it, hey, did you do that project? Or hey, do you want to go study tonight? No, it's, hey, do you want to go to the bar tonight? Everything everybody talks about is centered around this party atmosphere. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's plenty of students that can still have those kind of social interactions, and they can use and drink and use drugs even successfully, meaning that they don't suffer from addiction. They don't have this disease. They can pick it up and put it down as they see fit. But for those of us that can't, like me, that actually have the disease of addiction, when you're presented with this social stigma that if you don't go out and do these things that you aren't having, you're no fun, or you're not a good person, or nobody likes you, that is detrimental when you can't do those things. So if I'm defined by my peers as not being a fun person because I can't go out to the bar because that's what they expect in a college setting, then my quality of life is not where it would be if I could go out and drink. So I'm being marginalized by my disease rather than being uplifted for choosing to be abstinent.
One is an education, not just to the students, but also to the faculty and staff, that people can fully understand the addiction, because if you don't understand it, you can't really fix the problem. The second, being a safe place to go if you are a student with addiction. If I had an addiction problem, I can't celebrate and do things the way a lot of students do it. I can't just run to Friday Street. I can't just tailgate and get drunk with my buddies, as a lot of people on campus do. I think they need a safe alternative that up until this year we've been lacking. And the third would be a program in place to help along these students in their education.
I think it's important for these things to be in place because, especially for young people, one, they need to know that there's an alternative. If you are, have been in addiction for a long time, there's a certain lifestyle that you become, acquainted with. There's partying, there's, there's a certain bit of fun to it. And so to be able to see and be able to experience having a good time without being, inebriated, I think is important.
It's benefited me in my recovery and my college career because it's making me more aware of recovery, and also just as a group, my first year in a group and stuff, it made me, realize what you need to do for a group and how to build it and make sure it stays strong. It's also like a great place to just, unwind and stuff. So it's also fun, but also like very knowledgeable because we learn about the steps of recovery and stuff. So it's definitely good for anybody that's going into that field too.
It would help being part of a CRP program with the school for my graduation through UNT, because I would have people around me that would
be influencing me to do better at school, to get my school stuff situated, still maintain a life, and just it be an overall better experience for me soberly.
I think myself, if we're talking collegiate recovery program at UNT and actually creating one, specifically what I would like to see is specialized academic advising, sober living facilities, whether that's a real learning community at one of the residence halls that exist or off-campus housing, financial assistance in terms of scholarship. You know, if a student is meeting certain requirements, they have certain recovery milestones, then let's give them assistance to stay in school and help ease the financial burden, because that's something every student in recovery is probably dealing with.
Your long-term recovery at the college level is getting better so that you can become more successful in life, so that you can do well in your academic life. Socially, college is a time to build a lot of connections, hopefully lifelong connections, and that's what's going to set you up for your career. So you need a stable life in college to really be successful in the future.
Long-term recovery for a college student is often a very difficult struggle, especially at first. If we were to provide the education and people to truly understand the illness and disease that is addictions, we would, a lot of people would be on board, and it definitely would add to the green light of success.
Me personally, the direct benefits I think that I get, I have a 15-year-old son. I can bring him here and there are activities that he can do, like the sober tailgating, that I'm not going to be afraid he's going to be exposed to something that is going to be damaging, or, influenced in some way. Like I wouldn't bring him here if I knew there was a keg, and so, so for me, it's a good thing just to know, even for myself, that I can go somewhere.
Long-term recovery in college looks like working for my goals and succeeding, having people that support me, having a plan. Yeah, it would be success, graduating, and just like I said, reaching my goals.
What would most benefit a person in long-term recovery who also wants to be a college student would be to have those services here on campus, because it's real important for a person in recovery to have peers that are also in recovery, or at least support the recovery lifestyle. One of the things that you find on college campuses, not uncommon and not necessarily an unhealthy component of a college campus, is a lot of people drink and use drugs. It's part of the atmosphere. Sometimes it's an expectation of a college campus. If a person that's in long-term recovery has somewhere safe to be, and they still can have fun and they still can have the full experience of college, then that's going to be the most safe thing. That's going to be what retains that student as a college student. And that's my goal for a student when they come to school, is that they finish. That they get their degree and that they move on. So that's my hope, is that we can have a place to have people that are in recovery, stay in recovery, and want to come to North Texas.
And that's what we're trying to do at UNT is change this mentality that it's okay because you're in college. It's not okay. It's not okay for anybody to act like that. It's not okay to binge drink or to hurt people and make decisions that affect other people's lives. And it's not okay for us to be making addicts and alcoholics of our children because we don't want to talk about the disease. The disease is real. Addiction is real. And it is a disease. It's not a choice. It's not self-will. It's nothing else. It's a chronic disease that affects everybody it surrounds, not just the person addicted. And on the other side, long-term recovery is real and it is possible. And we have to promote that. We have to allow kids the possibility of long-term recovery so they don't have to live life like addicts. And the benefits that we can reap from that on a university level and on a societal and a personal level is huge. And to not talk about it anymore and to say that it doesn't exist is not something we can do.